Hello and welcome to another overpaid, over the bar fancy football video with me, Anthony, looking back at the last game week, which must have been game week 11, and forward to game week 12. It's been what they call an international break, with some pretty dramatic internationals, to be fair, especially involving Ireland, and Portugal, and then Hungary, with fantastic drama in both of those games. So if you're an Irishman or Irish fan, that must have been very enjoyable. For England, it was very much a stroll as usual. And there's nothing really much to talk about except that we still don't really know how good we are. And we'll find out at the World Cup, which is a way off now, but it's quite exciting, and a couple of hundred days left till that starts. So I'm not just looking forward to seeing England as ever, I'm looking forward to seeing the whole thing. Yeah, and hopefully England can do as well as I do at fantasy football, because I'm back at the top of the mini league. I scored 52 points in this game week. I got lucky with Saka had got a goal here when other people had sold him, and I brought in Mbomo, who scored. I really got him in for this week, game week 12, but he scored in game week 11 as well, which is a bonus. Um, Haaland as captain, as everyone had Haaland as captain. A few people went against him, but if you didn't go with Saka, you didn't really get much out of that, I don't think. A lot of popular players didn't do so well. Arsenal conceded 2 goals to Sunderland, remarkably. Um, and Crystal Palace, Mateta didn't really return. So a lot of the people that I don't have, as it was as much about that, them not doing so well, as the people that I have. So Freddie had a real, he took out Saka, uh, and brought in Gabriel again, I think. Now, in retrospect, that looks like a mistake, of course, but he does have three Arsenal defence. But the news is that Gabriel is quite possibly ruled out, at least for one game week, and could be three or four. As usual with an Arsenal player, I doubt we'll get the full information before the game week starts. But from what people are saying, it looks like he'll be ruled out for at least 3 game weeks. Now, that information could be wrong. I haven't sold him yet. And even if he was ruled out for 3 game weeks, there might even be an argument for keeping him. Um, but remember now that the game weeks come thick and fast. So next weekend, there's a game. The following weekend, there's a game. And then there's another one in the midweek. So if you're out for 2 weeks, you're out for 3 games. So Gabriel could be out for 4 games here. This is at his price. You can't really afford to have him hanging around while he's injured. So I'm in a bit of a quandary here because I brought him in. Well, I didn't bring him in. I had him right at the start of the season for 6 million. I've had him since game week 1. And having him and Haaland since game week 1 has really helped my rank no end. Probably apart from bringing Semenyo in game week 4, maybe those were basically the best decisions I've made, and really responsible for my game week rank on their own, more or less. So I'm thinking about selling Gabriel. I'll wait until Friday, Saturday to do it. Semenyo is also yellow flagged. Now, this one seems a bit more straightforward. He was he was smiling and high-fiving his Senegalese teammates when he left the field, evidently, when he was substituted, supposedly injured. And people are saying he was substituted for personal. There's a Ghanaian website which says he's being sent home for personal reasons, not because of injury. So whoever you believe, the Ghanaian FA or this website, um, honestly, I wouldn't expect him to be out, but let's see. The other question mark, there's a few actually. The other question mark that people are wondering about is the Chelsea midfielder Enzo Fernandez, um, who I have in my team. So I have 3 yellow flags now. I have 3 free transfers available. Um, Honestly, also with Enzo, I think it's a matter of the international break, the international games, him not wanting to play them. And he may be carrying injuries, but you know, not enough to stop him playing, as I understand it. So it's a bit of a difficult week transfer wise. Um, if people are getting rid of Gabriel, who do you bring in? Let's just have a look at the defenders that are available and see who's buying who this week. So O'Reilly is top of the list, nearly 100,000 transfers in. Um, that's a decent Gabriel replacement. 89,000 people have bought Gabriel before they knew he was injured. That's why, especially during an international break, you shouldn't make transfers too early. But any game week, if a player has got extra games, either Champions League or whatever it is, or League Cup, don't make transfers before you know they're fit. There's a kind of rule of thumb in this game. Munoz is a good one to bring in. He's cheaper than Gabriel by 6.6 or something like that. People are bringing in Van der Ven still. Um, Ballard, Gay, who is doubtful, but the people are bringing him in. Timber, if you don't have him, good replacement for Gabriel. Now, this is the one that is a discussion point. Virgil van Dijk. Liverpool's fixtures: Forest home, West Ham away, Sunderland at home, Leeds away, Brighton at home. I mean, those are five excellent fixtures. If we thought Liverpool could get back to some really good form, you'd have to say that those five fixtures should be enticing enough to bring in a defender and possibly an attacker, a midfielder or a forward from Liverpool. But the problem here is, who do you bring in? Now, if Gabriel is out, Virgil is quite a good replacement here. I mean, he can get defcons. He I always call them defcons with an M, but it's an N. He can get defcons. He can get goals. Um, and clean sheets for Liverpool in those games wouldn't be out of the question. So I think it's a good signing, and I'm thinking about it. It's whether you it's whether you want to bank on Liverpool at the end of the day at the moment. Um, and if you look at their results recently, they haven't lost those kinds of games much. So I don't know. They lost, badly against Manchester City and didn't really even turn up, but that's Manchester City. We shouldn't really base too much on that. They beat Aston Villa in the previous game. So they're at home, and they were at home in that game. They're at home on Saturday against Forest, or Sunday, I'm not sure. It is Saturday at 3 o'clock. Um, then you've obviously got all the cheap options like Mukiele, um, the Leeds defenders. Another one to think about from Liverpool is Konate, only 5.4, who could get DEFCONs, who could get clean sheets. Mitchell from Palace is 5, and of course Richards is 4.5 from Palace. So if you don't have a Palace defender, you can go there. Chelsea's fixtures aren't great after this week. They have Burnley away, but after that they're not. They have Arsenal coming up. They're not great for bringing a defender. I don't mind Delict, but he's 5. If he was less than 5 million, I might consider him. I think he's quite a good player, actually, Delict. But Man United cannot be relied upon for clean sheets, really, can they? If you wanted to make weight, if you wanted to bring in somebody more expensive upfield, you could go for Heaven, which some people have done at 3.8. I mean, he doesn't play. He hasn't played at all. He played 3 minutes in the first three. He's played 28 minutes all season. So he would be simply to sit on the bench. And so if you didn't have a cheap defender, you could go 3.8 for Heaven and then bring in somebody more expensive further upfield. The obvious swap for an Arsenal defender is another Arsenal defender, which could be Saliba. It could be Calafiori if you don't have him. Um, and then there are Manchester City defenders. Bournemouth have got quite nice fixtures. If you don't have a Bournemouth defender and maybe you don't have Senesi already, you could either get him in or another Bournemouth defender. True Fair for Bournemouth is a very nice player in terms of occasionally getting defcons. And how much is True Fair? Let's just have a look. He is 4.5. He's 4.5. Let's just look at his record here. What's he done? So he's got 45 points. He's played 90 minutes every game. 45 points isn't a hell of a lot from 11 game weeks. He had one assist. And what about Defcoms? Defcons. Is that DC? Is that Defcon? Yeah, so he usually picks up, no, he's picked up Defcons on 3 occasions. It's not a hell of a lot. But he could do some clean sheets now because if you look at their fixtures, Bournemouth, West Ham at home, Sunderland away, Everton at home, Chelsea at home, Man United away, Burnley at home, Brentford away. I mean, they're pretty good. And Bournemouth are a well-coached team, capable of keeping clean sheets in at least 2 or 3 of those games. So that's not, I don't think that's a bad pick. Truffert. Oh, is he French? I don't even know. Is he French? What's his first name? Adrien. Yeah, looks like he's French. So that's the that's the challenge this week is to think of how to combat the problem of Gabriel being out because I'm sure everyone's got him. Um, some people may be getting fed up with Semenyo. Um, some people may be selling Gyökeres if you haven't already sold him. It may be a time to just not, as usual this season. I think it's a time not to panic because the margins aren't that big at the moment. I mean, you could argue that you could throw the baby out of the bathwater and go back to Salah if you had Salah before because of Liverpool's fixtures. But I mean, unless you're going to have Haaland as well, it's a real risk. And even if you do, you can't have Saka, you can't have Mbeumo, you can't have lots of other. And then you've got to make 3 transfers to do that. So just be a bit cautious. Don't imagine that everyone's going to score more points than you. Is my advice. Just make sure you got 11 decent players. I'm not sure I have as it stands. If I look at my pick team, if Gabriel is out, then Voltemada's in against Manchester City. By the way, Voltemada scored for Germany tonight. Wirtz got 2 assists as well in that game. I mean, I'm really tempted to bring in Wirtz, I have to say, just because he can't be as bad as that every week in the Premier League, and he's a really good football player. It's just that he's 8 million and, at least, and you can't gamble on that 8 million. You could gamble on him at 7, but not at 8. Um, and I'm quite happy with all these midfielders this week. I think they'll all play. Um, I'm looking more at defenders. Uh, so I don't think I've got 11 players. I do think I would have to make a transfer now. And it might be Voltemada who has to go. Um, and Gabriel, perhaps, because I don't even really want to play Mukiele at Fulham that much. Okay, fixtures. This is a nice weekend of football. We've got early kickoff on Saturday. Burnley Chelsea. You should have somebody in that game. And then 5 3 o'clock kickoffs involving Liverpool. We've got um, Bournemouth home to West Ham. Uh, Palace are at Wolves. Who's to say Wolves might turn a corner, but they do have better players than people think. That's all I'll say. Well, you never know. And then Man City at Newcastle. And I mean, 5:30. We saw last week with the 5:30 kickoff in Sunderland. up there in the northeast at 5:30. It's not easy to go to those stadiums at any time. And when people have been drinking all afternoon and they get into the stadium for 5:30, I mean, you'd have to say Newcastle might score one or two against Manchester City, but whether they could beat them, I don't think so. But let's see. Should be an interesting game. Actually, Man City, they're not too bad to watch this season. I've watched most of their games. They're usually pretty fun to watch. Leeds, Villa on Sunday, and Arsenal against Spurs. Um, Arsenal Spurs, we have to assume that Arsenal will win that because Spurs have really, despite their league position, have really not been very good this season. And although they won at Manchester City, as they often do, winning at Arsenal is not something they do very often. And the game is so important to both teams that you don't think either one's going to give much space to the other one more easily. And Arsenal is stronger. They're just physically stronger than Spurs, if nothing else, I mean, apart from all the talent they have compared to Spurs, especially going forward. Spurs don't have enough at the moment. I think that'll be 3-0 Arsenal. Um, but let's see. Manchester United, Everton. It's a nice one to have a Man United player on Monday night. I mean, maybe an Everton player, but definitely a Man United one for that Monday night game, just to give your team a bit more points. Um, there's a few options at Manchester United. It doesn't just have to be Bruno or Mbermo. If you look at their because what's happened now is that Sheshko has been ruled out with injury. It's got a yellow here, but this evening they've said he's definitely out. Um, which makes Cunha at 7.9 a decent outside bet. He hasn't scored as many points even as Ahmad this season, but I would say Cunha's a really nice. Although given that Mbomo's only 6.6 more expensive and Bruno Fernandes is only 1 million more expensive, then if you can't afford them two, it might be worth going. But otherwise, I think those two are probably better. Otherwise, Manchester United in defence, I've talked about De Ligt. Sure, maybe 4.5, but you just can't see them keeping that many clean sheets. Okay. Um, so that's just about it. Let's just have another look at the overpaid over the bar table. Uh, Matty White is making a lot of gains in third place here. He sometimes has these moments in the season. If I'm not sure, he's often quite unorthodox, but it's a good season to do that. And he's looking quite good. I think I might get him in for an interview one week. Keith, uh, I think he captained Gabriel in this game week. Yeah, yeah. But he has Welbeck, this is a very good team. He's going to get rid of Gakpo, maybe. I don't know. Maybe he'll keep him. They've got good fixtures. And Craig's rise up. Let's have a look at Craig's progress up the ranks. Sorry, I've lost where is it? It is here, game week history. So his overall rank is now within the top million, which it was in game week 9, but it seems to be slowly edging forward since game week 3 when he fell to no game week 5 when he fell to 6.6 million. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 game weeks. He's gone up 6 million places more or less. So he must feel like he's getting it right now. What's his team looking like? Pope in goal. Still got Reinders. You might want to get rid of him. He might want to keep him. Got 5 very good midfield players. Three decent, oh, very good attackers as well. So he's gone for a lighter back line than most people have gone for. But Richards for Palace is doing great at 4.5. So that's a really good pick. He's got Saka. Mateta could end up scoring a couple this week. He's got the three Palace option. They've still got some good fixtures. Hung on to Joao, and they got Joao Pedro back in and he scored. So, yeah, always one to watch. Craig Anderson. Um, Otherwise, who's winning? There's a couple of things we have to look at here. Firstly, the Nephew's Cup. I should call it the Uncle's Cup. The Nephew's Cup. Freddie Speak well ahead of the nearest challenger at the moment. It's his brother Robbie with 621. Freddie is 80 points ahead of Robbie, who's the nearest nephew to him. Robbie, there's two in-family tussles here. So Robbie's 3 points behind Liz, his wife. We would love to see Liz finish higher than Robbie, but don't tell him. If he watches this video, I didn't say that. It was just, I meant to say it the other way around. And then Piers and his son Louis also not far, but Piers has stretched his lead over Louis to 80 points in this game week. Louis had a bit of a rough week there. I always like those little in-family info. And how's Matt Cox, our friend Matt Cox, Portuguese resident, Liverpool fan? How's he doing in his family league? Is he is he winning in his family league? Yes, he is. But only by, oh, it's very tight at the top there. All these Coxes. This is great. Um, his son Jamie's only 331 points behind Matt here in this league. This is great. Okay. And the last one is we're going to look at is my nephew Jacob Wilson, Lord of the Mings. He's a Villa fan, and he has a little mini league with his mates called Ball Knowledge Needed, which I think they started in game week 2. And he's not bottom of that; he's third in there, and he's only 77 behind Melissa, who's winning. Got a girl winning that. That's good. Melissa's winning in the Ball Knowledge Needed. Fantastic. Uh, all right. Well, that wraps it up from me just about. I'm looking forward to the football as usual. Um, I'm was a bit disappointed with Exeter losing on Saturday. We could have won that game. We made a stupid mistake. Um, and I hope your team wins. I hope your team does well, and I hope your fantasy football team does well. Come on, get ahead of me. Give me some. I don't care. Like I said before, as long as I finish in the top 100K, I don't care if you're ahead of me. Come on, get those overpaid over the bar stats higher. Okay, it's goodbye from me, Anthony. See you again soon.